There is a popular saying which goes to focus on the journey, not the destination. And ladies and gentlemen, trading is no different because the journey is where you're going to learn the necessary skills required for success. So in this video, we're going to be diving into the journey to successful and profitable trading, going over some of the stages that you will inevitably experience on your way to the top of the mountain, and some of the things you need to be aware of. And as you go through each stages, the actions you should focus on so you can get to the next stage. These are things that I wish that I learned during my process, during my journey as a developing trader, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. So, I hit my head on, I hit my head a lot to try to figure it out. So hopefully, you watch this video till the very end and you learn the insights that can get you from where you are today to where you are dreaming of being, and not make it a dream anymore and make it your reality. Let's waste no time. Let's dive right into it. So we're going to be exploring the journey to successful trading and going over some of the phases that you are going to be experiencing from when you start off as a new trader to becoming a seasoned and profitable trader, and how you can navigate the different phases that you're going to go through and the things that you should be focusing on each phase that is going to allow you to get to the next level. This is something that I wish I saw during my trading journey, because each phase I essentially went through, and fortunately, I didn't exactly have the guidance or the mentorship or the things. It was kind of like, man, hitting your head on the wall and, trying to figure out how to break through. So as we go through these slides, try to take a look at, where you are. You might be a step ahead, you might be a step behind, but always remember that it's a learning process. And as you get to the next stage, this is a video that you can always go back to and say, okay, this is where I'm at, right? And this is maybe what I should be focusing on, and this is what I should be doing so I can have the breakthrough that I'm looking for. So when it comes to the journey to successful trading, we have this quote here by Arthur Ashe, who is an American tennis player. Success is a journey, not a destination. The doing is often more important than the outcome. I am a firm believer that, when you are striving for a particular goal, it is not the outcome, it is not the goal that matters, it is who you become in the process. And trading is one of those things that if you actually immerse yourself in the journey and in the process, you will become a phenomenal person. You will be like, because it tests you in so many different levels, from a psychological standpoint, from an analytic standpoint, it tests all of you. Trading is a reflection of you, so you can become more than you are even before you get to the point where you are actually seeing consistent profit. So ladies and gentlemen, it is extremely important that you focus on not just the outcome, but also the process, and understand that the journey is also part of the beauty of it, right? So try to enjoy it. So the starting point of your journey is the discovery phase. This is where you found trading, whether you found it through social media, whether you found it through YouTube, whether you met a friend who traded. This is where we start. This is where we all started. I started during this phase. I came into the industry, from a coworker who told me, hey man, this is how you can make some money. This is how I'm making some money. And I paid him a couple grand to show me, because that was just, it wasn't big on social media at the time, right? So the starting phase is the discovery phase, right? This stage is where people learn the basics of forex trading. You open your accounts, you eventually deposit money into your broker, and this is where you're feeling good about finding something, right? The desire. I remember the desire that I had during this phase was like, man, okay, I finally found maybe an opportunity that can get me from working my 9-to-5 job, doing the things that I don't like, to be able to control my time. So it's exciting time. It's typically filled with excitement about what's possible, often underestimating the challenge of navigating an unpredictable market and managing personal emotions. And this is where I always say trading is a craft, right? It's not a get rich quick, but during this phase, there is a lot of excitement. There's the desire to learn and be profitable. So you're overlooking the downside of the trading game because you don't know it, right? You don't know that, okay, this is something that might take a little bit of time for you to understand. You might not get rich in the next 2 to 3 months, right? It might take you a little bit to get to where you want to get to. And the actionable items during this phase is to understand that trading is a craft and it requires a bit of mastery to gain success. One of my favorite books is by Robert Greene, Mastery. I always recommend that every trader read that book. It's not a trading book, but it is a book that talks about how you can master anything, the process, because it gives you and educates you on the different people who have achieved greatness and what it's going to take. In this phase, as you're discovering the market, it's important to understand that you need a bit of mastery, right? It's going to be important. Focus on your education. Don't worry too much about the money, right? You might make a couple of dollars during this phase and you might be rocking, feeling great, but focus on your education. Keep that at the forefront. Keep your expectations low during this phase. I didn't have low there, but keep your expectations low during this phase, but maintain a childlike curiosity. It is extremely important that, you are consuming as much knowledge as possible. You are trying to learn as much and you are curious because that's how you are actually going to learn. The next phase is what we call the honeymoon phase. That first easy win. I remember my first easy win in the market was I came in and I remember I was with a friend. He was dropping me off after class. I had just made $1,000 in one day. I forgot what pair I was trading at the time. I think it was dollar CAD, and it was not even real money. It was demo money. I got in the demo account and made my first $1,000, and I'm like, yo, this is how it is. This is how easy it is. And I was like, yo, look at this, man. I just made $1,000. And he was like, man, that's like, I also didn't tell him it was demo, so he was just like, oh man, that's amazing. And my brain was like, man, I am all in. I am going to be a multimillionaire. I'm going to kill this, right? The initial thrill of your first easy win can be exhilarating. Often luring new traders into a false sense of security. And the reason why I say this is not because the easy win means something bad is going to happen, but the thing about this process is it can often lead you to thinking that, hey, this is easy, right? This is easy and it's just going to be like that forever, right? So we call it the honeymoon phase. It's a crucial part of the journey, but it's important to remain grounded. So when you are going through this phase, or if you're currently going through this phase, stay grounded, right? And understand that, man, focus on the process, and you don't know what you don't know, right? There's a lot of things you don't know, and it's going to take you, a little bit. So when you start to get this easy win, be excited. No doubt about that. You're not going to be able to help yourself anyways. It's going to feel great, and I'm not going to take that away from you. But remember, consistent success requires more than just beginner's luck. Going over to actionable item, one of the things you want to focus on during this phase is to keep a trading journal to document each trade, your wins and your losses. Ladies and gentlemen, what makes a winner and what creates that separation between winners and losers is a very small margin, right? And sometimes it could be like 0.01. And a lot of the things that winners will do is they will analyze feedback, right? Feedback is everything. Analyzing the feedback, collecting samples, and taking screenshots of your overall trading, making sure that you are looking at why you lost, why you won. Outside of getting mentorships and, working, being a part of the community, hiring a mentor, this right here is going to be your biggest teacher, because it is going to give you something a mentor can give you, your own perspective. And that's why I always recommend to keep a journal to document each trades, including, the strategies used, the outcomes, and the lessons learned. Going over to our next phase here, this is the slowdown phase, right? This is the difficult phase where you've had your first initial win and now you're experiencing a series of losses. And this is the realization where you're starting to, man, there's actually a lot that I don't know, right? And a lot of people can start to get a little bit discouraged. This is where, you're facing, a series of losses that can slow down your momentum, right? This phase tests your resilience and commitment to trading. Understanding that losses are a natural part of the learning process will help you stay focused and motivated. If you're a member of the LiveFree FX community, one of the things that I show even on the YouTube channel as well is my wins and my losses, right? Because that's part of trading. When I first came into the trading game, I stayed in this phase for a long time because unfortunately the mentor, the first initial person I learned from, kind of sold me the false realization, the false idea that I was supposed to stay in that easy phase for the duration of my trading because that was where he was at. But fortunately, that's not the case. And, I'm cheering for him all the way, and I hope he's, still doing well. But I started to realize, now losses are a part of trading. But back then, it was, I'm not supposed to be losing. I'm doing something wrong, right? When I would take one loss, it would literally create a catastrophic series of events that would either drain my entire account, whether it was demo, whether it was live, and just send me into a spiraling because I didn't think that was something that was supposed to happen. But the reality is, during this phase, there's a lot that you don't know, and it's going to happen because you're still acquiring knowledge, right? So it's important to review, analyze your losing trades to identify patterns, mistakes that you're making, adjust your trade plan accordingly, right? Or your trading strategy accordingly. Personal development is extremely important during this phase. And the reason why I talk about personal development is because you as a trader, you are the edge, right? And during this phase can be extremely sad, maybe even depressing for some people. But for me, this was a moment where I realized, boy, you don't have what it takes right now to be able to deal with the pain that might be coming with this, right? Because once you have your first initial win, and all of a sudden now you're taking a series of losses, it was like a little bit of an up-down swing, and that can drive people nuts. So for me, I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to start to work on myself. I need to make sure that I am not, up and down emotionally when things happen. So how can I be more stoic? What is the process? Now, understanding the process of success, right? So when you start to dive more into personal development, you start to understand that even trading is like a business, right? And if you listen to most entrepreneurs and most people who have started a business, it usually takes an average, 3-5 years, some 2 years, depending on how long it takes, but it takes some time for them to see the initial success, sometimes even 10 years being in an industry before they actually get the breakthrough that they were looking for. So it started to give me a little bit of perspective that, okay, you know what? It's all right. Right? And I'm not alone. So personal development, listening to motivational speakers, and just developing a mindset that is going to allow me to perform at my best was crucial during this phase. So that's what I recommend that you do. Listen to speakers like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, one of my favorite speakers, but anything positive. I would listen to things in the morning, fill my head with something positive before I started my day. And the more I did that, the less, the more positive I spoke to myself during the down times. The fork in the road is where you kind of hit rock bottom, right? Where things are not exactly working out. You maybe haven't had a win for a long time and you're thinking about giving up. Educate or give up. Every trader reaches this point where they must choose between giving up or committing to further education. And they say in the industry, 90% of traders lose. And the reason why 90% of traders lose is because I would say about probably a good chunk of those traders, I'd say even 89% of those traders, right, give up during this phase because you come into the market and maybe you hear about trading and you're like, whoa, this is so much money that I'm going to be making. I saw this guy on social media who drives a Lambo and he drives a Rolls Royce as well. And he's telling me how easy it is. And I gave, my money, or I put this money with very no education, and I got the nice big win. And now, boom, I have essentially lost all my money. So a lot of traders will lose their money after going through the first easy win without really experiencing or without getting the right knowledge or education that is needed to succeed. And when they hit this phase, they're like, man, trading it's not It's not real. Like, you can't make money from trading. Understanding that this is all part of the process. But because of the expectation that they had, or maybe because they came into the market thinking it was going to be easy, a lot of people, once they realize that, hey, it is easy to get to a point where you are making money, but it is a process. It is not as simple as you might have initially thought. It is going to require a bit of commitment, right? Every trader reaches a point where they must choose between giving up or committing to further education. This fork in the road is pivotal. Choosing to educate yourself and refine your strategy can lead to long-term success. Giving up means missing out on the potential to grow and improve. So this is where, you can't give up, right? This is where you can't give up, because if you give up, you're essentially missing out the opportunity. During this phase, it is important to ask yourself why. Right? This is where you need to ask yourself, why do you want to become a trader? What got you in? And I remember I was in this phase. I remember maybe 3 years, 4 years into my trading journey, I had been given this everything. I had been putting my heart and my soul into it, and I still would have a little bit of up, I would have a little bit of down, and I was like, man, maybe I should give up. And then this is where you might have people in your life who are telling you maybe you should, right? Maybe you should give up, and maybe this is not for you. And all the people who have told you that you are going to fail, it is not going to work out well, they are inevitably right. They were right in the first place, right? But the thing is, they're not going to be right forever. They were just right, especially these last couple of months, these last couple of years, because now you're essentially failing. But always remember that they are not going to be right forever. And this is the place where you need to focus on refining, focus on learning, and focus on doing the best that you can in order to move forward. You might have to walk in the dark for a bit, but it's okay. It's part of the process. Put in the work consistently. If you decide to move forward, the only way to succeed from here is to put the work in consistently. And this is where you have to make a commitment to yourself that, hey, you know what, I am going to do whatever it takes. And this is where you can transition from the 90% of traders who quit, 90% of traders who fail, and start to make progress towards the 10% of traders who will inevitably succeed. I am a firm believer that if you give your heart and your soul to anything and you sacrifice for it and you work for it, I have never met anyone who have failed. And this was something I always told myself, is like, I have yet to meet someone who did whatever they could to succeed and didn't succeed. So that became my mindset, is I'm going to do whatever it takes. Success in trading doesn't come overnight, right? Regardless, this LiveFree effects, our brand here is not me telling you I know I can be bigger, right? And out there telling you, hey, you can get rich overnight and you can buy all the Lambos and do everything, and you can just buy my bot, or get my signal, and we'll make you a multi-millionaire. That's not the brand here. This is real. I've been doing this for 9 years. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to happen overnight, right? It's going to take some time, but when it starts to happen, it's going to feel like overnight for a lot of people around you, right? But for you, the work that you put in. It requires consistent effort, discipline, and a willingness to learn from both wins and losses. Putting in the work daily, reviewing your trades, and consistently improving your strategies are essential steps in your journey. During this phase, establish a daily trading routine. And this is what I call the process, right? Before you become a consistently profitable trader, you have to have a consistent process that you engage in day in and day out. This is the biggest separator between people who are consistent and people who are not, right? Consistent traders have a consistent approach. They show up at the same time every single day. They have a mental routine that they're going through that allows them to trade profitably and effectively, but at the same time, it allows them to bring in the right mindset for your trading, whether it's meditation, whether it is, spending the time to visualize their ideal trading performance, or to get them in a state where they're calm and relaxed. Whatever that process is, create that for yourself and stick to it. The process also includes time, for market analysis, where you come into the market, you analyze, your trade execution and review of your trading journal, right? All of these are important. But the biggest part about this is you have to become an A player, right? You got to put in the work consistently. This is where you say, I am I'm gonna double down. And becoming an A player means you're becoming someone who is showing up consistently for yourself, right? That's what an A player is. An A player says, I am going to win. I may lose today, I may lose tomorrow, I may lose for the next year, but I am going to win no matter what, because I am going to keep showing up. Become an A player. Gain momentum. As you continue to learn and apply your knowledge, you start to gain momentum. This phase is characterized by increasing confidence, right? You have more confidence in your trading approach. You have more confidence in your trading strategy. Staying disciplined and sticking to your trade plan will help you build on this positive momentum. So making sure that you have a trade plan that you're following consistently will allow you to build on this momentum. Set specific measurable goals for your trading performance, right? Regularly track your progress towards achieving them. Focus less on the money/profit and more on the performance process. And this is what I talk about a lot, about just really focusing on the process, right? The money will always, when the money comes, don't get excited, because you can go back to that easy, win where you're rocking sky high. But the beautiful thing about success is the more you succeed, the more you learn how to handle it, right? The first time you might run up your account to 10,000 and then bring it all the way back down again because you didn't know how to handle it. The second time you do it, you might withdraw 5,000 because you're like, man, I got to pay myself, right? And maybe that you do it on the third time. So you learn, right? You learn. So as you gain momentum, focus on the process and, still enjoy the work, fruits of your labor and the fact that you're seeing profits, but, keep your focus on the process. Understand, succeed. Success in trading is not a final destination, but a continuous journey of growth, right? And you have to constantly adapt. This is where, for me, even being where I'm at, I still gotta, put the work in, because I'm not perfect. Some days I might have a losing streak. Some weeks I might have, losing week or losing month. And I gotta, okay, what do we need to do, right? What do we need to do? What's, and go back and analyze my trades, because, being at the top or being a winner, right? You're not, being a winner is interesting, because in order for you to be a winner, you have to keep winning, right? And being a profitable trader means in order for you to be a consistently profitable trader, you have to be consistently winning. And that is a continuous process. It is not just like, oh, I'm there and boom, peace out. By staying committed to learning, improving, you can achieve your trading goals and enjoy sustainable success. Celebrate your achievement, but always strive for further growth. Actionable item, continuously seek new learning opportunities, right? This is where you might want to be around other like-minded traders, be a part of a community, or maybe create your own group of, dedicated traders who are also on the same path as you, who are doing it, so you guys can keep pushing each other. This is, stay updated on market trends, adapt your strategy as needed to maintain and enhance your trading success. But overall, this is where you need to just keep doing the work. Whatever got you there, don't stop doing it, right? Don't stop doing it. And for me, being here is, giving back, educating people, because it's also a process for me where I'm also learning a lot about myself. I'm learning from, traders in my community. I'm learning from, my wins, my losses, but also from their wins and their losses, and understanding that I can't make all the mistakes, and that's the thing that you got to understand too, is you got to learn from other people's mistakes, and also your wins and your mistakes as well. So being around a supportive, environment or a supportive community, because trading can be lonely, is extremely, extremely important. But once you hit this level of success, that's when you might want to start to think about what's next, because the wolf at the top of the mountain is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the mountain. So you might want to go find another mountain, whether it's maybe increasing your capital, or getting funded with a bigger capital, or doing something that gives more of you, whether it's educating and doing whatever. But I think it's important that once you succeed, you need to still keep testing yourself. You need to still keep pushing. You need to still keep climbing. And that's the best way that you're going to get to be able to maintain this overall process. So understanding, which stage you're in is extremely important. And if you've watched this video in its entirety, you can say, okay, this is where I'm at. And so check it out. And maybe you're in stage 2, right? Maybe you're in stage 1, maybe you're in stage 3, but always feel free to come back to this and learn, and you put the work in. And as you get to each stage, right, just always understand that, success is a journey, right? Like we said in the beginning, it is not a destination. And you might hit that one goal, but you might say, okay, you know what? I want this now. Be grateful for how far you've come. Keep putting the work in, and, just don't stop believing in yourself. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up, right? This is a classic 3 feet from gold, Thomas Edison. And you might be close to the life that you want, to the dream that you want, but giving up is never an option, right? But if you feel like maybe this is not for you, trading is not for you, whatever, then you need to find a supportive space, to maybe a community, or have a strong support system. But focus on pushing through, and focus on going from the stage to stage, right? And understand that your goal is possible, your dream is possible, and I hope that you continue to succeed and you continue to thrive. It's Emmanuel from LiveFree Effects. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, continue to live free.